Geometry Dash platformer extremes sure are interesting. Ranging from crazy length to inconsistent difficulty, the Demonlist has it all. Even though there are tons of different exclusives I could talk about in this video, I surely don't have time to go over the entire thing. What I can do, however, is give you a feel on the top 10 platformer demons. As always, whatever I say is all my opinion, but I won't be boasting it to complete hatred this time around. With that said, hopefully controversy won't linger as much as it could if you know how my channel gets sometimes. So please, I beg of you, keep your comments civil. Your opinion is not the same as mine. Another thing I should quickly point out before we start is the Demonlist is always changing, so some things I say in this video might not age well in a couple of weeks, especially with the recent verification of Cave of the Scarlet Sky. Keep that in mind. This level is kind of weak in my opinion. It's one of those levels where it looks easy at first, but when you play it for yourself, you're basically digging your own grave without even knowing it. This level looks kind of weird in some places, but it is what it is. Although I will admit, to be completely honest, this level is pretty damn creative. I love how these flower heads act as saws and how these lasers come out at you every once in a while because, well, it's a top 10, what do you really expect? Either way, this level isn't really at all that visually appealing, nor is it crazy ugly. It has those unique feats to it, and I love that. Wow, this level has a very strong vibe. The nighttime works absolutely perfectly, and the full moon in the background is a pretty nice touch. Void World is apparently supposed to be the sequel to a level called The Abyss, which is quite the level. As you'd expect at any other level, there are definitely some objects that look out of place and frankly just ugly. Take this part for example, or this one. Both of these are examples of objects that don't match very well together, or at least not in my eyes. Other than that, solid levels, so let's move on. A pretty short platformer challenge, this project is surely something. The mountain peak in the background is cool, but it really could have been executed better, along with the rest of the level, which looks a little bit rushed to be honest. I strongly believe the creator should have spent more time on a level that's like under a minute long, considering the fact that this is just a pixel level. Now, I'm not being a hater, I'm just expressing my feel for a few things that would need to be fixed, and at the end of the day, I do appreciate this level. Sure, it's kinda there, not crazy memorable, but it's still cool. I'm not gonna lie, this might be one of my favorite levels on the Demonlist top 10. It looks really nice, and the attention to detail was executed pretty damn well, considering the circumstances. The structuring was created really nicely, not looking very rushed at all. My only real complaints to this level besides the gameplay would be the addition of these spike balls, which don't really fit into the general atmosphere, and the background not having any parallax, which looks really odd for a level this detailed. I fixed this problem by adding the background groups to a move trigger that included the properties of a regular, basic parallax, and as you can see, it looks 1,000 times better. Orlu, if you're watching this, hook me up. Okay, wow. Just one look at this bizarre masterpiece tells me that if you're not Jesus Christ himself, you're gonna get absolutely obliterated. It blows me away that this isn't even on the top 5. And people have beaten it? How many levels of mentally unstable are you? Okay, I admit that was a bit much. But can you see yourself beating this? I think not. If you answered yes, you might want to take a minute to touch some grass and rethink your life choices. Anyways, besides the sheer difficulty of the level, you may have noticed I called this a masterpiece in the first sentence, and that's not an exaggeration. This level is peak. A ton of boss fight levels are so satisfying to watch, not play, and this level has to be in that list. I can't see myself ever getting far in it, but from the showcases, I can safely say Project BUZZKILL is a serious banger. So, what do we have here? Yep, you guessed it, another Crerro auto-scroller in this format. Of course, you have to have a sequel that complements the original level quite well, and I believe Crerro Kaizo II does a very good job at that. There's still these time lasers that want to disintegrate you, and gameplay that makes you want to disintegrate yourself, not to mention a shift from a Mario-type theme to a factory-type theme. But that doesn't make it a bad level necessarily, why would it? There's still that hidden charm that makes this level somehow appealing to me. Crerro does a really good job at making his gameplay look more fun than a roller coaster at Challenger Deep, but at the same time, this shit is pretty satisfying to my eyes. I like this a lot, honestly. It stands well as a sequel, and even just as a standalone level. First things first, pray to whoever has slaughtered this level legitimately, because their fingers are probably in a worse condition than a Nevadan who neglects lotion. Whoever you are, I hope you are okay and you're not suffering from any hand tumors. This looks, to make a long story short, painful. Besides the god-awful gameplay, I can at least appreciate the deco. Maybe. Oh yeah, it's kinda basic. There's not a ton I like about this level, besides maybe the way it looked from far away and the song. But other than that, I'm happy for you, kinda sucks. Not in a this level is so shit I couldn't care less kind of way, but it's definitely my least favorite I've reviewed so far. Yet another Crerro level in the top 10 Demon list? This man is seriously the king of platformer extreme demons. I'm not even kidding. Anyways, about the actual level. I love the gimmick where you have to dodge these colored blocks, which makes for some pretty interesting gameplay. Though it's still cancer to play, similar to practically every other level on the list so far. But what do you really expect as the Demon list? You're not gonna have fun. Now, it is pretty clear this was rushed a little bit due to the lack of small details, but at the end it tells you it was created in just one stream, so that's probably why. In short, very well made level, and I like it a lot. The first thing you see when you enter the level is this trippy color inversion effect created with the gradient trigger. This is what I call a visual gimmick, as this is a key part of the level. I noticed this effect was pumped up to the max layer, so it impacts literally everything it touches, even the attempt count. Though this visual gimmick is cool and all, it's definitely unnecessary, but it makes the level a ton better in my opinion. Besides the inversion effect, I enjoyed a song picked up for Null. Very fitting for a platformer extreme this cancers to play, serves a great vibe to the overall experience when you're watching it on YouTube. Null also tends to, again, lack some detail, but when you're playing it, your main focus is just going to be beating it anyway. And finally, the #1 platformer demon as of December 2024, Convolution. What a level! Looks like hell to play, which is unsurprising considering that's the case with every other level in the top 10. I wonder why. So I'm going to skip talking about the gameplay for this level due to unnecessary repetition. I probably have similar complaints for this level as I did with Null and shit, or Convolution has a lack of detail and such. This is from the same guy who created Intervallum, although these levels are pretty different from one another. I feel like the shaders are a bit too much, especially around the end, but the song is a banger and the visuals are pretty nice in most places, so I'll give this level a higher score than I was planning to. At the end of the day, all of these levels are honestly pretty solid. Sure, they all use similar basic P-minless gameplay and most of them lack small detail, but that doesn't make them necessarily bad levels. All 10 of the demons I went over today all have a certain charm to them, which makes them unique. Even I'm happy for you, which is the same way I would feel if you'd subscribe maybe. Please, I beg of you. Anyways, that's about it for this interesting video, and I'll see you in a million years. Goodbye.